Hey everybody, it's Robert Dinan, and we're here with Luxury Living Florida, all things luxury, all things Florida. And I have a wonderful guest here with me today, Miss Heather Hackett. She's the executive director and founder of Local Relief, right?
That I am.
And it's wonderful to have you here.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Perfect timing for Local Relief here.
It is, ironically, yes, perfect timing.
Ironically, it's right. We do have a tropical storm now. Is it a tropical storm?
It is, but that's going to change here.
It's going to change shortly.
Soon.
So
yes.
Tell me about Local Relief, what it's about. Let's give a little background on yourself, and then we'll talk about Local Relief.
Yeah, I've lived in Sarasota for 20 years. I was always the serial entrepreneur, so always doing something. My common denominator was helping people. So I had a kids fitness business. I wrote books on confidence. I did sporting event management. You name it, I always was doing something. So my first hurricane was Irma in 2017. Right, yeah. So Irma came, and I had no idea. I'm from Ohio. We don't have hurricanes in Ohio.
You know, hurricanes in Hawaii.
Yeah, we don't. So
by the time they get there, they're just a rainstorm.
Exactly. So we have every other type of stuff in Ohio, but no hurricanes. So trying to figure it out, I put my stuff together. I'm the planner, you know, so I kind of organize everything and say, okay, here's my supplies. And I got it like a week in advance. And then when it started to get close to go time, I started noticing that people were just in this panic.
Frenzy.
Oh my gosh, it's a mess.
It's a frenzy.
Yeah, it's an absolute mess. And
how much water do you need?
oh my gosh, it's toilet paper.
Toilet paper?
Yeah, even COVID, it was always toilet paper.
Yeah.
People need a boatload of it. So yeah, so basically I saw how unorganized it was.
So when you say unorganized, you mean from the local standpoint, from municipality-wise, or just individuals and families and understanding
all
the whole...
in general, it's chaos. Like from the local standpoint, I look at it as a person, right? I'm a resident. I want to know, where can I find tarps near me? You know, what store has them? Where can I find gas? What place still has generators left? You know, well, I say dumb questions, but they're like the simple questions, which to me then, I didn't know. Well, if you go to get a sandbag, do you have to bring a shovel? You know, it's that type of stuff where I don't know, especially if it's your first storm. Who knows?
Right.
You know, so to try to find a platform for that information, and again, you know, connect the people that have to the people that need. That's the biggest thing that on mainstream social media, if you push something and say, hey, you know, I find this place, Ace Hardware over here has really great supplies and whatever. Well, if I'm not friends with you or connected with you, how am I supposed to find out?
Right.
You know, so it's really bridging that gap. And when I saw what a mess it was, because I tried to connect the people that had to connect to people that need, and I was just thinking, like, the event manager in me is going, oh my gosh, I can do so much better, or we're better than this.
Right.
You know, why isn't this?
So was it
more
really
organized?
that Ian that really sparked this whole thing into play here? Or
Yeah, it was.
Because I mean, I know how involved you were with that. It's absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, well, that's my nature.
Your
anyway.
volunteerism was amazing.
Thank you. But that's my nature anyway. I used to do Christmas collections when I was in my 20s and just like, oh, okay, people need stuff for Thanksgiving. Let's do a collection for them. So I didn't have the money, but I had the connections. So it worked that way. Yeah. So I kind of kept with that mentality, I guess. And 2017 had the idea, single entrepreneur, had no idea what to do. And then 2018, a guy reaches out to me to write content for an app. Well, fast forward to 2022, I'm learning the app space, but not only that guy is now my husband. That's Ken.
Yeah.
So
I remember that well.
Yeah. Then seeing an Ian that I figured I lost my chance. I figured someone else did it. It's not like it's rocket science. It's just making a hub and putting everything together.
Right.
But then realizing that no one had done it, and it was more unorganized, because now you have so many mainstream social media platforms. You have TikTok, Instagram, you have X. I mean, there's so many. So to try to find local information on all of those together is a nightmare.
I mean, where do you start, right?
Yeah,
Where do you go?
yeah.
Which,
so then
which
realizing we were even more disconnected than before, I decided, okay, now's the time, got to do it. And we had the conversation and made a nonprofit. Had no idea what to do, but figured it out.
So Local Relief is a 501c3?
100%. Yeah, I don't own it, and nobody else can either.
Nice.
So I'm not selling anyone's information.
What does Local Relief do? What happens?
So basically it's 100% dedicated social media platform and information hub, but it's just for disasters. So we have like 3 components. It's the information that you need as far as how to prepare, and it's for every type of disaster, whether it's hurricane, whether it's earthquake, whether it's tornado, whether it's flooding. You know,
so it's not just Florida based. This is a national program that you created. Okay.
Yep. And then so all the information as far as how
to be a busy lady with all the things going on.
I know. That's okay. If I'm not busy, I'll start another business. But no, I love the fact that we can put all this information, and it is each individual disaster. So you can say how to prepare your home, your kids, your dog, your family, generator safety, all of that other stuff. And so that's in like the static information in the content heavy section. And then we have a section of just resources. resources. So imagine people funnel into local relief, and then I point them to the websites that have the information and the information that they need to recover. So your FEMA, your Red Cross, your federal, your state.
Like after the fact.
Yeah.
After
yeah.
the fact.
And even before, but most people need this after. So your long-term recovery groups, your housing authorities and information, nonprofits that provide assistance, all that type of stuff. So it is the stuff that you can typically never find, but I put everything together.
On those government websites.
Yep. I point to all of them. And then the social media platform. So people can log in, find your city, find your county, and then you can do the hyper-local information. So it's your Facebook/Nextdoor, just like a Facebook group. It kind
So
of
if you do
acts
need
as the same
sandbags
thing.
in, say, Sarasota County or Manatee County, you can zero down in and locally and find that on the app itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And just like I post as much information as I possibly can, but the whole point of this is to do say crowd sharing, citizen journalism, whatever you want to call it, where it literally is the more people we have on it, the more it's validated and the more content we get and the more people can help people.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
So share some of your successes with this so far. What have been some of the major things besides obviously you're providing this outstanding tool for people, but have you had people come and say to you, wow, thank goodness I found this app and found you to help me do this? Have you seen that happen a lot more since launching this thing?
Yeah, especially in Debbie. That was really the first time that it was in play, that it was in use. And ironically, with Debbie, Manatee and Sarasota County, they did get hit. So I was able to physically see and and go there and see the response and the reaction. And that was great because when you're impacted by disaster, God, there's just this stare. You can tell the people that have lost everything, they walk in the room and they just have this blank, I don't know what to do now.
Right.
My world just is
everything that was
brand
everything
new.
is gone.
It's all gone.
Yeah.
And they have this.
I mean, especially
now
with
what?
that was all flooding. I mean,
we didn't have much wind for that one at all.
That
it was
was
just
places
water.
that shouldn't have flooded, and
Yeah. Well, still, it was just the
It was a
abundance of
disaster.
water.
It
We
was a
had
disaster.
17 to 19 inches. Yeah.
It's crazy.
So really, they have that now what stare. So it's giving people a tool there where they can saturate themselves in it. They can just say, you know what, I'm not ready for mainstream social media yet. I don't want to see people with new homes and cars. Their life as normal, but my normal is different. So it really gives them a place that they can kind of saturate themselves in the content, in the information, but also that's kind of their peers. So they could ask people on there. And it really is for that camaraderie and that group effort and giving people a support system of, hey, I went through this. Can anybody help me? Did anybody go through the same thing? Because what I see with the more users on there is that there are going to be people that have gone through similar situations or that have found resources and tools that nobody else had found. It really is that community that unless you've gone through it, you really don't know. But it allows them to all help each other.
To be able to
together.
share, too, and experience on that, too.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm still dealing with stuff from some of the properties down south, from Ian. There's things that still aren't done down there. I mean, there's people who down there are just getting checks now from their insurance company.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, 2 years later. It's 2 years.
I went to Fort Myers Beach for the 2-year anniversary, and Ken and I went, and it was really hot. And we were looking for a place to have lunch, and there were 3 places that had air conditioning, and that was it. It's still a work in progress. It still has so much work to go. Same thing, I was watching weather this morning, and they were talking about Mexico City years ago. 95% of all the buildings were destroyed in 2018.
95%?
95%. Mexico City. Yeah, it was crazy, and they even said, they're still rebuilding from that. It's 2018. I mean, it takes a long time. People don't see it because they focus on the new and the shiny and all that stuff. And
well, tragedy happens and then it dissipates very quickly, especially if you weren't personally affected, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
People, everybody's on board until 3 or 4 days later.
Yeah, exactly. Then it's something new. Shiny
Something new.
penny,
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
But this gives people a platform that stays around. It doesn't go away. So for the long-term recovery efforts, even if you're not on site, like for the Fort Myers Beach, a lot of the ways that they were going around to homes and telling people they had possible funding for their home that is now destroyed that they aren't living in was going door to door. And I'm like, there's no doors. Like, there's nobody there.
I'm going back years now. I mean, 9/11 in New York City, they went door to door to businesses. Nobody was there.
Yeah.
They had people, there's restaurants and businesses there was nobody there.
Yeah.
They're knocking on people's doors where nobody's answering, and there's a ton of opportunity for business owners and people living in that area at the time for benefits. And I think a lot of people missed it.
Yeah. Well, case in point is that this is an area where they wouldn't have to miss it because they could go to the app, go under that county, and someone could post and say, hey, here's a picture of this guy's business card. He just stopped by. Call him.
Yeah, this has happened. This is the opportunity.
Absolutely.
Right. These are the opportunities that exist for you.
Yeah, because those are the big ones. I mean, especially when you're in that situation, missing that knock on the door is a big blow.
Yeah.
That needs to happen. So,
especially when you're, and the reality is insurance isn't covering what you think it's covering.
Yeah.
By any means.
Yeah. You know more than me.
Yeah.
With the flood and the leaking.
Yeah, the flood, the leak. I mean,
not...
we're redoing a place down south from the hurricane, and they gave us a whopping $21,000.
What's that going to do?
I mean, I can't get flooring for $21,000. We need new cabinetry, we need new drywall. I mean, what am I doing here?
Nice try.
My premium was $21,000.
Yeah.
You have to find the other opportunities, and having this resource is absolutely outstanding for people. But let's talk right now about, I know we talked a little bit about the recovery, of course, and that's a main part of what you're doing, but what about the preparedness for events? Let's be microcosm and talk about Florida and the hurricanes and, tropical storms that we have here. What are some of the things that you see most people, talking about on your platform?
Florida's funny. There's always this tough guy mentality for Florida where people are, until it's named, I'm not paying attention, or until, we're not in the cone.
Well, I'm just going to have a hurricane party and have a good time.
Exactly. And one guy posted the other day saying I'm not in the cone, we're fine. I'm like, yeah, how'd Debbie do for you? Because we weren't in the cone then either. And that was more destruction than I had seen in Sarasota as far as just flooding and water damage goes.
Brand new properties too were just destroyed.
The biggest thing is, I tell people, please don't look at the cone. Look at everything around it, because they said just on the news this morning, the director Guthrie said it spans 250 miles. I think it's just the center part of it, not to mention the fact that
the flooding.
Everybody from Florida is getting impacted with this thing. And at the end of the day, too, we've had more water than usual. So the biggest concern with Debbie was the fact that we were already saturated. We were going into
we had more
super
rain.
Wet
we had
storm.
more rain than ever before.
Yeah, and we were already, the biggest thing was we were already at our peak. We couldn't really hold anymore. All the ponds were filled, whatever was filled, everything was filled. Yeah. So to get almost 20 inches on top of
in
already
a short
filled,
period of time,
where's the water going to go?
Right.
So we found out that's where the water went. But that's the biggest thing that I tell people.
Right?
Yeah, it's just be prepared. I mean, just like you and I both said, we were talking about it, having people that reach out and say, well, should I put the shutters up? It's yeah. I look at life in general, best case, worst case. What's your best case scenario? You didn't need them. Okay.
Yeah, best case scenario? It goes off into the Gulf of Mexico and dies.
Yeah, your worst case scenario sucks at that point. Okay, so put the shutters up. That's what you have them for. But at the same time, too, then it's insurance. Insurance, the first thing they're going to ask you is, did you put shutters up? And you're like, no. Yeah. What do you think they're going to give you? Nothing.
Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, you have them, use them, but also just pay attention. Stock up and don't assume, oh, well, I have a propane generator, but I don't need propane yet. I'll get that after. Well, that's not going to work either.
Right.
Get prepared. Have that stuff now. I mean, the biggest thing is Amazon, Publix, they deliver. Total Wine, stock up, it delivers. Whatever you need, just
make sure you get your Total Wine today and get your supplies.
Hey, Total Wine, I'd like to have you as a sponsor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Total Wine and Local Relief is looking for sponsors.
Hey, I'm just saying, we're a fan. But no, it's literally, there's places now that deliver. You don't need, people I think need to feel busy and they need to feel they're doing something. Play it smart. Stay home. Don't use your gas. You still have the time to get the Publix delivery or to get even Kroger's delivers. And I don't even think they have a Kroger's around here, but they don't
have
deliver.
Kroger's. They just have Basis now. That's a big commercial deals going on with Kroger's, but just putting the storage
but they even deliver. They don't have a storefront. They deliver. Amazon, they deliver. Yeah. So just play it safe, play it smart, buy stuff that you're going to eat anyway.
Right.
And that stuff more than likely will stay. I wouldn't go crazy. I see a lot of people stocking up on meat, and I don't think that's a great idea because of the fact of your power is going to go.
If the power goes, so does the meat.
Yeah, exactly. There's the prepared, what are they, the meals with bean? There's Indian dishes. They are so good. They're phenomenal.
Good. I know what you're talking about.
And they're super cheap. When I travel and go to the emergency operations center or whatever, I eat those anyway because you don't need to refrigerate them. I literally pull out, take the lid out, and I eat it. I don't care. But it's a heck of a lot better. I actually lost weight last time I was to the point to the state because I'm like, hey, this is great. It's like a diet. I think at the end of the day, just please, over prepare for this one than under. and any storm, I think, in general.
Yeah. You do find the people that are extremely cautious, right? And then you do find the people, like we talked about, the hurricane, let's just have a hurricane party and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And I think people that have been in Florida understand hurricanes more than most people because it does seem to affect us a lot more these days than in recent years. But we're not poor Louisiana.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, poor Louisiana just gets crushed.
Yeah.
But, it's always something to be concerned about, right? You don't want to live in fear, but have respect for the weather.
Oh, 100%.
Have respect for Mother Nature and what's happening. And,
Yeah.
having a platform like yours is absolutely outstanding for people in Florida.
No, thank you.
And the rest of the country, too. Now, what do you think people should be doing if something does happen to their home? What are next steps for you besides using your app to its maximization? But my house gets destroyed. I'm talking like I came back and there's nothing but sticks.
Yeah.
My house is gone. Devastation happens, right? That's devastation. And mentally, you're devastated. You're just destroyed. Everything's gone. What steps do you see people take next when using your platform?
That is such a loaded question. With Debbie, I'm an observer, right? And I noticed really like 3 categories of people with Debbie. There were people that they lose their house and they have no family here. They have no other means and they don't have the money for hotels. They don't have any of that stuff. They're the ones, their option is finding a shelter and finding the resources that are available by the county. If they have insurance, they're going to contact insurance. The toughest part is if you go through insurance, they don't really want you to touch anything so I would talk to your insurance company first and foremost. And even there, that's where you're going to find the county resources and the local resources. And anytime you go there, they typically have local nonprofits that are also providing help. And it doesn't have to be local nonprofits that are providing disaster assistance. Like, for example, in this last one with Debbie, the 3 organizations that I talked to and worked with were Mothers Helping Mothers, Streets of Paradise, that helps homeless, and then Dakin Dairy Farm, which they're just a great company locally that just said, hey, we want to help. So they were offering a ton of supplies, cleaning supplies, clothing, whatever you can think of, like all of that stuff as well. So, that's where, again, like the local relief app, where we were funneling stuff in there.
Yeah, because those places could change where they're going to have them.
100%.
And they do.
Yeah, they definitely do change depending on
affected
school,
area.
Yeah, well, school was about to be in session. They couldn't use the schools.
True, right.
So then you have all of these things that come into play. But that's where you really want to look at, again, like your county information is like, what do they have there? And again, that's where we work with them when possible and post the information, because the toughest part is the fact what people don't realize is that it is in motion. It's never a constant to where, like you said, you think of schools. Well, if they're about to have school in session, they're not going to let you use it. So then you have that crew that really don't know where to go, and that's where the app is really beneficial because we have the federal, state, where you can literally just kind of dig through, saturate your time. Find the nonprofits that do provide assistance as well. And then also we have the crew, like if you look at Amish, they lost their homes, and I kid you not, they called in troops
a big population.
Holy cow! They
area.
are machines like nobody's business. To where they had people coming down from Pennsylvania, so they have that crew. That's a super tight-knit community, and they just, bam, they popped right back up. And not only were they working fast to help repair themselves, but they were also offering food to everyone else. I'm like, man, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
So you have that crew, and then you have like, Laurel Meadows, for example, you take that to where those people did have the money and the means to fix it. So they just, kind of, again, went into their own like hyper local community, kind of internal, and said, hey, let's figure this out together. And they did. They banded together and, are still working on it, of course. And that'll take a while.
So let me touch on that for a second.
Sure.
So you're talking about something happens, right? And you're talking about the people who have the means to fix something. Do you have particular vendors say, let's start here? This guy can put your shutters up for you since maybe you can't do it yourself.
Sure.
Or this guy will help you secure whatever you need to secure in your property pre-storm. Right?
Yeah.
Put all your furniture outside away. Put your shutters up. So you have like people like that on the platform that you let them advertise, or how does that work?
I have business partners, and basically how the app works and how we will be funded. We have the capacity to advertise on the app. Mm-hmm. We use that advertising feature to showcase our donors and sponsors. So right now we have a couple bigger companies. Eventually, we will have small companies, but anyone right now that posts on the app and says, hey, we have a business, we're going to help, I delete them because I don't know who they are, quite honestly.
Right.
And any business that really wants to advertise, I tell them, I will send them a message and say, hey, thanks for posting and whatever. And
I mean,
if
you get the
do
you get the
want
storm
to-
chasers. You get the storm chaser. people.
100%.
You know,
100%.
I'll fix your house. Give me $1,000. I'll be
Yeah,
here tomorrow.
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
You know,
They're not there tomorrow.
I'm Mother Nature. That's a good one. I'm like Mother
You
Hen
are
in
Mother
real
Nature,
life.
local relief.
Yeah. So
I work directly with Mother
There you
Nature,
go.
and
Yeah.
I help you after Mother Nature has taken some tolls.
Yeah. Well, I am not as temperamental as Mother Nature, but I say I'm like Mother Hen. So I'm the person that looks out for everybody in real life. But in this app, I really look out for people, and I want to make sure they're not taking advantage of someone that found them through the app or whatever. So when someone does post anything, I'll send them a message and say, hey, I really appreciate you. If you would like to be a partner or whatever, contact me and let me vet your business. And then 100%.
Yeah. Creating something like this and spending the time that you've spent to create it, I mean, it only makes sense to vet the people out.
Yeah.
I mean, the last thing you need is somebody, doing something that's not good.
Yeah, 100%.
For anybody, especially in situations where you're devastated, distraught state, and now you're having someone come in to help you, and they're really hurting you. And vetting them out is absolutely important.
And even there's really probably three things. And to go along with your question of what do you do first and foremost, the county's going to ask you for documentation to try to get information on your house. So basically that's to say, hey, what's the value? Can we get declared? They want to be able to get declared and get money back for you. But also, Crisis Cleanup is an organization that everybody should know about. That is basically the hub where anybody that has storm damage to their home, they go on Crisis Cleanup, say, hey, this is the damage I have to my home. Crisis Cleanup is literally like all nonprofit organizations that do provide assistance use to find homes that are damaged and do need assistance. So like, have you ever heard the term muck and gut?
Of course.
It's an awful term, but it basically means to take all the crap out of your house that's damaged, all the drywall, all the stuff that you don't want to touch. There is a science to it. The organizations that do that, they're amazing, like your Team Rubicons. There's a lot of those out there that really want to come in, and they'll set up shop as long as they know there's homes damaged. So the only way that they're going to know is through Crisis Cleanup.
Right.
So call Crisis Cleanup, make sure you get your home listed on there. That's going to get you the assistance that you need. And then also GoFundMe.org, where you go and create all your campaigns and fundraisers.
Right.
But they have a .org where you can literally go on and create a campaign and say, hey, it's for disaster, Debbie, or whatever. And as long as a nonprofit validates and says, hey, yes, in fact, they were, damaged or whatever, they can give you like a quick up to, $1,000. So that's something that's quicker as well, as far as like a little bit of rent or whatever. But it really
someone
takes
needs to
a
go
village.
somewhere. They have nothing,
Yeah.
and they had their home was was their asset. And, living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, if the home is gone and they need some
100%.
you need to go to the hotel. They're not going to take. You have to pay.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, that's a great asset for people to have too.
Yeah, huge. And even there are local nonprofits around here. Like there's One Mission, Matt Tuggle, he's in Sarasota. He's a nonprofit and he puts a crew together that does the muck and gut. He's local, but all these organizations that are local, even your churches, these are the groups that are used to helping people anyway.
Right.
100%, I would saturate the local organizations. Like I said, it was Mothers Helping Mothers and Streets of Paradise here, that are nonprofits. They're used to the space. They know even Streets of Paradise. I asked them and I said, all right, if they're used to working with homeless population, where do you send people for reduced housing or, something like that? And he knew exactly where to send them. So I think it's really just making sure you not only saturate the disaster nonprofits, but the people around you and just talk to everybody. And that's where,
this
again,
platform
I'm
gives you the
trying
opportunity to do that.
100%. And that's where whatever I learn, I put in the platform.
Yeah.
And, and even there, I give organizations like this flyers. I'm like, when you're talking to people, please, and I'm handing them flyers to try
Scan
to
the QR code
raise them.
and
Yep,
download
100%.
the app.
Yeah, it's a work in progress. But
Just like
it
everything.
will be,
Everything
yeah,
is,
exactly.
I
But
mean,
it'll be like your Nextdoor or Facebook, but just for disasters where, there needs to be a dedicated space, just for disasters.
That's why you created it, right?
Absolutely.
To help these people.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what you need. Let's
Okay.
talk about what can help you as an organization. There's obviously people that are going to be seeing this that are going to say, well, how can I volunteer? How can I help? How can I donate? How can my business be involved more with your platform? How can they do that? I know you personally probably want to vet people, but as you're growing and expanding here, how does that work and how does that look for you? I mean, obviously, do you have any volunteers at this point in time?
No, I would love some volunteers, honestly. As far as we're putting together a program to work with high school kids, like volunteers that way. We just haven't finished it yet before the disaster hit. Oh my gosh, if someone's tech savvy, man, I can use them. I can't even tell you how much of a benefit and of a help that would be for me. Because, I mean, really right now is I could more than anything use help with someone that's,
Help building out
kind
the
of
app a little bit
scouring social media and really help finding that content and finding those people that need help, but also finding the people that provide it. So that's huge. And then, of course, loading the local relief app up. We are a self-funded nonprofit. So this has just been, my husband and myself to say we could use funding as an understatement. So we do have a tiny bit from the business partners, but it's a catch-22 because the business partners, they want numbers, they want downloads. Well, I need the funding to get downloads. That's kind of the pickle there. But really just it's raising awareness, anything raising awareness. If it's people with a big following, if it's people that are on sports teams, that have a lot of parents.
Local civil
absolutely.
civic organizations, I should say. I mean, the Kiwanis, the Hibernians, the Rotary, all those things.
Yeah.
I mean, because those people, they're attached with a lot of other organizations too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And it's that type of help that I could use. And really, everybody has their gifts and everybody has their talents. And if someone has a heart for disaster, reach out to me. I promise we will find a place for you. And we will find work that will make your heart happy. And hopefully you can stay with us for a long time.
Yeah.
But we have so much that needs to happen, especially not just, Florida, but I'm also, in conversations with Louisiana, with Texas, with, other states that also need help. But, realistically, this is nationwide. It takes one influencer to
kick it off, right?
It's
even
in all
more
states.
than it already is.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. It's in all states. So that's going to be a good day, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that's happening. That's going to be a good day.
I said it's a pleasure having you here today, and I appreciate that. There's a lot we can try to do to help you, too. All the people that you included in your list, please give us a list of that so we can attach their information on this podcast so we can have people know more about those organizations that are involved through your app. Obviously, we'll have the download for you for her app on the site. Is there anything that we missed today that we want to touch base with before we get off here?
Super quick, we talked about it earlier in the beginning. I think anybody that has just moved to Florida or is thinking of moving to Florida, especially if you have
you have to have this
just
app
moved
if you
here,
just
you
moved to
really
Florida.
need to download
Absolutely.
it, and you need this in your pocket
because
you don't realize not only how big the disasters are, but how quick they can change. I mean, the models are only as...
the last storm was coming to... Ian was coming to Tampa, and Tampa was going to get wrecked.
100%.
And it went to Fort Myers and Boca Grande and Englewood and Northport.
Last minute, too.
Last minute.
Yeah.
People are like, let's go south. And then...
Yeah, even this came quick. They didn't know where it was going to go, so it was kind of brewing down there and, it didn't have a direction. And as soon as it had direction, it's
Caribbean
like, bam.
Sea.
Yeah. Then it's like, all right, cool, you got 2 days.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
This one is a fast-moving storm.
It's fast. Yeah, it's
fast.
So I think that's the biggest thing is everyone's just saying it's fast. And not only is it fast, but literally you have the 2 words that I think everyone in the industry hates is when they're put together is rapid intensification. And when you have the path that this storm is going through, the direct chunk of water that it's going through that is
feeding it,
ridiculously warm. Yeah, it is like rocket fuel like no other. So it just so happens it's going over this path. And it's that rapid intensification that just freaks people out because you don't know how big, how fast it's going to get. The good news is if it does move fast, less water accumulates.
Right.
The slow ones to me are like, my gosh,
slow ones are just
go
cooking.
already.
Yeah, they're cooking.
Yeah. Fast brings other problems as well, to where this one's going to be, much windier than Debbie was. Hopefully not as much water because that was a boatload. We'll see.
Yeah,
we always Debbie at one point I think was going like a mile
We always
an hour.
hope for nothing. We always hope for nothing.
Yeah.
Like you said, prepare for the worst, right? But hope for the best.
Yeah. And they said this morning 7 days, have like 7 days of food.
Yeah.
And, and that's okay. 7 days of food.
Okay.
Prepare, not 7
You don't
months.
have to eat every day.
Yes. Well,
You don't
I
have
look
to
at
eat
it too.
7
I'm like, all
times a
right,
day
I got
every
it.
day.
I look and I got protein powder and I got, oat milk.
You could make it.
Okay.
You could make it.
Yeah,
what you
if
probably
I
have
really
in your
had
house.
to.
You have to.
If I really had to, I could.
Well,
But yeah.
Before we end,
Yes.
tell everybody the best way to get in touch with you and the app and what the best way for them to download the app is.
Yeah, absolutely. So my email is easy. It's heather@localrelief.com. And then as far as the website goes, it's localrelief.com. You can download the Local Relief app from the App Store and Google Play. So it's live,
Easy
it's
as
kicking.
that. So again, I thank you for being here.
No,
I
thank
you
you.
for pulling together this outstanding platform for people. You're
you.
always very
Well,
close friend.
yeah, I appreciate
you
you.
coming today. So listen, if you're looking to, have more information, be informed about what's happening before, after, and during the storms, please download Heather's app at Local Relief. And again, I'm Robert Dinan. This is Florida Luxury Living, all things Florida. Looking forward to seeing you on our next podcast. Be safe and have a great day.